Good morning or good afternoon, football fans. Big Al here on this Sunday, November 24th, 2024, and welcome to the rest of the Week 12 injury report from across the National Football League. I'm a little late, so apologies for that. The actives and inactives have been released for about an hour, and now we're going to go through every game, pointing out all the injured players in each. Starting off with the Dallas Cowboys at the Washington Commanders, and it's a laundry list for Dallas. Safety Marquise Ball is out with a shoulder. Wide receiver Brandon Cooks with a knee. Cornerback Trayvon Diggs with a groin and a knee. And tackle Chuma Edoga with a toe are all questionable. I don't think that Diggs will play today, though. Tight end Jake Ferguson, this is a big one. He's out with a concussion. Defensive end Marshawn Nealon is questionable with a knee. Guard Zach Martin, is doubtful with an ankle and a shoulder. Meanwhile, guard Tyler Smith with both an ankle and a knee. And linebacker Nick Vigil with a foot are both questionable. For the Washington Commanders, linebacker Nick Ballore is questionable with a knee. Defensive end Javon Jean-Baptiste is questionable with an ankle. Cornerback Marshawn Lattimore is sitting out once again with a hamstring. And kicker Austin Seibert is questionable with a right hip injury. On to the Minnesota Vikings at the Chicago Bears, starting off with the visitors. For the Vikings, defensive end Gabriel Murphy is questionable with a knee. Tight end Nick Muse is questionable with a hand. And tight end Josh Oliver is out with an ankle. And for the Bears, you've got wide receiver Rashawn Allen, questionable with an ankle. Kyron Omegadeli, or however you pronounce this last name, he's questionable with a calf. Center Ryan Bates is out with a concussion. Safety Elijah Hicks is out with an ankle. And running back DeAndre Swift is questionable with a groin. Next up, the Detroit Lions at the Indianapolis Colts, and we'll start with the Lions. Cornerback Terrion Arnold is questionable with a groin, but it looks like he won't play today. Meanwhile, cornerback Emmanuel Mosley is questionable with a pec injury, but it looks like he'll make his season debut this week. Cornerback Ennis Rakestraw Jr., however, is out with a hamstring. And for the Colts, only two names listed here. Defensive end Tyquan Lewis is questionable with an elbow. And tackle Bernard Raymond is out with a knee. Next, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New York Giants. We'll start with the Bucs. Cornerback Jamil Dean is questionable with a hamstring. Same for wide receiver Mike Evans, although I think he's expected to play. Defensive tackle Greg Gaines is questionable with a foot. Cornerback Troy Hill is questionable with an ankle and a foot. Cornerback Zion McCollum is questionable with a hamstring. Safety Tyke Smith is doubtful with a knee. And tackle Tristan Wirfs is questionable with a knee and a foot. And for the New York Giants, wide receiver Bryce Ford Wheaton is questionable with an Achilles. Linebacker Micah McFadden is questionable with a heel. Linebacker Darius Mussau is questionable with a hamstring. Wide receiver Malik Neighbors is questionable with a groin. And linebacker Kayvon Thibodeau is questionable with a wrist. Up next, the New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins. We'll start with New England. Defensive tackle Christian Barmore listed as questionable. It's non-injury related. Safety Kyle Duggar is questionable with an ankle. Cornerback Christian Gonzalez is also questionable with a hip. The remaining names on the Patriots injury report are all listed as questionable, with the exception of defensive tackle Jacqueline Roy. He's out with a neck. So you got linebacker Anthony Jennings, guard Cole Strange, linebackers Sion Takitaki, and defensive end Keon White, all listed as questionable with knee injuries. Tackle Vidarian Lowe is questionable with a shoulder. Linebacker Marte Mapu is questionable with a neck. And defensive end Dietrich Wise is questionable with a foot. For the Dolphins, tackle Terrion Armstead questionable with a knee. Cornerback Kendall Fuller is out with a concussion. Fullback Alec Ingold is questionable with a calf. Safety Patrick McMorris is questionable with a calf. And guard Isaiah Wynn is questionable with both a quadricep and a knee. On to the Tennessee Titans at the Houston Texans. We'll start with the Titans. Linebacker Jack Gibbons is out with an ankle. Cornerback Justin Hardy is questionable with a groin. Cornerback Roger McCreary is questionable with a knee. Meanwhile, cornerback L'Jarius Sneed with a quad, running back Tajay Spears with a concussion, and tackle Leroy Watson IV with a back are all out. Hey, it's Chad. What's up? How you doing, Polar Bear? And for the Houston Texans, defensive end Danico Autry is questionable with a knee and an oblique. Meanwhile, defensive tackle Foley Fadakowski and tackle Blake Fisher are both out. Fadakowski has a foot and Fisher has a concussion. Kansas City Chiefs at the Carolina Panthers. Only 2 names listed for the Chiefs, and they are both out. Defensive end Charles Omenihu with a knee, and running back Isaiah Pacheco with an ankle. Otherwise, the Chiefs come into this game relatively healthy. Longer list for the Panthers, though. Linebacker Amari Barno is doubtful with a knee. Both running back Jonathan Brooks and linebacker Jadeveon Clowney are questionable with knee injuries. Wide receiver Jalen Coker questionable with a quadricep. Linebacker DJ Johnson is questionable with a concussion. Kicker Eddie Pinheiro is questionable with a left knee. Defensive end LeBron Ray is questionable with a hand. Running back Miles Sanders will sit this one out. He has an ankle injury. Wide receiver Adam Thielen is questionable with a hamstring. And linebacker DJ Wonnum is questionable as well with a quadricep. Moving to the late games, beginning with the Denver Broncos at the Las Vegas Raiders. For Denver, defensive end Zach Allen is questionable with a heel, but he is getting rest, so this is technically not injury related. Safety Brandon Jones is questionable with an illness and an ab injury. Wide receiver Josh Reynolds is still out with a hand, and linebacker Drew Sanders is out with an Achilles. And for the Raiders, cornerback Jacorian Bennett is out with a shoulder. Tight end Harrison Bryant is questionable with an ankle. Cornerback Nate Hobbs is out with an ankle. Center Andre James is questionable with an ankle. Cornerback Jack Jones is questionable with a back. Running back Alexander Madison is doubtful with an ankle. I am not expecting him to play today. Same with running back Zamir White, who's doubtful with a quadricep. And guard Cody Whitehair is questionable with an ankle. Next up, the big NFC West battle between the Arizona Diamondbacks. I'm thinking baseball. Sorry about that. Next up is a big division battle in the NFC West between the Arizona Cardinals and the Seattle Seahawks. And we'll start with the Cardinals. Cornerback Max Melton is questionable with an illness. Defensive tackle Darius Robinson, questionable with a calf. Linebacker Xavier Thomas is questionable with a back. Safety Jalen Thompson is out with an ankle. And tackle Jonah Williams is questionable with a knee. And not a lot to talk about with the Seahawks. They only have 3 names listed. Tight end Noah Fant is questionable with a groin. Tight end Brady Russell is out with a foot. And wide receiver Laviska Shenault Jr. is questionable with a back injury. Next, we have the San Francisco 49ers at the Green Bay Packers, and we'll start with the 49ers, who continue to be ravaged with injuries. Linebacker Tatum Bethune is out with a knee. Defensive end Nick Bosa is out with a hip and an oblique. Reports state that he did not even make the trip to Green Bay, so he's still back home in San Francisco, nursing those injuries. Wide receiver Jacob Cowing out with a concussion. Center John Feliciano is questionable with a knee. Defensive tackle Kevin Givens is out with a groin. Here's another big name. In fact, the last 3 are pretty much all big names. Quarterback Brock Purdy is out with a right shoulder, so that means we're going to have another quarterback for the Niners. Cornerback Charvarius Ward is out due to a personal matter, non-injury related. And tackle Trent Williams is questionable with an ankle, but sources say it's possible he may play against the Packers today. Only 3 names for Green Bay to talk about. Cornerback Jair Alexander is out with a knee. That's a huge one. Linebacker Edgerrin Cooper is out with a hamstring. And defensive tackle Kobe Wooden is questionable with a shoulder. Alright, next you got the Philadelphia Eagles at the Los Angeles Rams on Sunday Night Football. We'll start with the Eagles, who are pretty much healthy going into this game. Wide receiver and return specialist Britton Covey is questionable with a shoulder. But the big one for us is wide receiver Devonta Smith. He is out with a hamstring. And for the Los Angeles Rams, who also come in pretty much healthy as well, tackles Rob Haverstein and KT Levinston both have ankle injuries. Haverstein is listed as doubtful. Levinston is out. Cornerback Charles Woods is also out with an ankle. And on to tomorrow's Hardball Bowl between the Baltimore Ravens and the Los Angeles Chargers. We'll start with the Ravens first. Defensive tackle Travis Jones is questionable with an ankle. Safety Sanasi Kane is out with an ankle. Center Tyler Lindenbaum is questionable with a back. Cornerback Arthur Mollett is out with a calf. And linebacker Roquan Smith is listed on the injury report. He's questionable with a hamstring. And for the Chargers, you have defensive end Bud Dupree, questionable with a foot. Safety A.J. Finley, questionable with an ankle. Cornerback Cam Hart, questionable with both a concussion and an ankle. Tight end Hayden Hurst is out with a hip. Cornerback Dean Leonard is questionable with a hamstring. Defensive end Khalil Mack is questionable with a groin. Wide receiver Ladd McConkey is questionable with a shoulder. And linebacker Denzel Perryman is out for tomorrow night with a groin. And that's a look at the Week 12 injury report. We do this every Sunday at around 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, after the actives and inactives are released by the league. Alright, we'll have the latest AP and AFCA coaches poll rankings entering Week 14 of the college football season. That's coming out tomorrow. Then join me back here on Tuesday for our Week 12 recap, the week that was, where we'll look at all the statistical numbers from every game this week, plus my Week 13 power rankings, and a look at the NFL playoff race. Also on Tuesday will be the Week 14 television schedule and every announcer for each game. And then on Thursday, we'll be back with my Week 13 NFL picks, both straight up and against the spread. Plus the injury report for the 3 Thanksgiving Day games. And the latest college football playoff rankings. All of that is coming on Thursday, so join me then and all this week for great content. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell and get notified every time I go live. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching and enjoy the pigskin. Peace out. Don't know why I moved my camera.